it is still alive and well. And if we don't use this money, we're going to lose it.
Yeah, and working in government entities for most of my working career, this is one of the big features of a government job, right? End of the fiscal year.
All right, everyone. A little bit of chat. Are we about ready to get going?
Welcome, Curtis. I hope you're having a good day, sir.
It's been a good day so far, I think. How's everyone else doing?
Good.
Good. All right. So I wanted to welcome everybody. Please do make sure you put a comment in the chat box as your check-in, and we do have you listed in the participants as well. And welcome everybody. This is the second to our last of our training series. So, and today we have, you know her, Dr. Teresa Newberry. She's here to, so we've been talking about setting up our classes, and then one of the important component, especially when we're dealing with an online environment, is how are we sure that our courses really meet a high quality academic standard. And that's kind of what Teresa is here to talk to us today about. And she has some information, I believe, from Quality Matters and stuff, and really giving us kind of a rubric that we can really kind of, I don't want to use the word grade, but really grade our course upon and make sure that it's a high quality standard. So I'm going to turn the time over to Teresa. Just like with all of the trainings, unless she directly solicits for questions, please put your questions in the chat box. And I will try and get them to her. And then, but with that being said, I'll turn the time over to Teresa. So Teresa, it's all yours.
Okay, great. Well, welcome everyone. It's good to see you, even virtually. As has been our tradition, I'd like to start our gathering with a prayer and a blessing, and I've asked Camillus to offer that for us.
Thank you. I know this is the time for the rain season, to the time for Gargohimoli, which we're not going to have because of the COVID. And but I had sung some songs, so I'm just gonna do the same thing. But I want you to just to think in your mind about your family and your friends and students that you probably haven't met yet, but just kind of ponder the coming year, and also just in your mind hear the rain falling outside, on the roof, whatever, and then hopefully that prayer will call the rain. So, Doc, nato kam pochont kamu chatanam mat ama po chip kup kamu him chikta nan ko emas chip kan kamu ama ya ka ita kamu ya chumai pa cho him chikta tutuh ka tom to muy ha chum ituani mamui ka muy ha chu apa bo apa pa inote kamu hamach kam hawi. So hoi to kena temakai Ceroi kena kamoi kau nani kau wanyama Tamai cewa se semua moi kau wanyama Otani kau ino Tomakai ma so hoi to kana temakai Ceroi kena kamoi kau nani kau anyama Tamai cewa se semua moi kau anyama Otani kwaoi no nakai ma Ceroi kena kamoi kau nani kwau anyama Ta mai chua se samo mo e kua o anyama. O te ni kua o e no na kai ma. Rau e kena ka mo e kua o na ni kua o anyama. Ta mai chua se samo mo e kua o anyama. O te ni kua o e na kai ma. Sorry.
Sapa.
Sapa, thank you, Camillus. Yes, and I love the inspiration to include the new students coming in, because really that's what these trainings are about. When people hear rubrics and things like that, just like any student, you're like, oh my God, am I going to meet the grade? It's not about that. It's about really, providing what's needed for the students. So that was really, really wonderful. And a great way for us all to connect on a Monday and to unite our thoughts and our work toward the goal of a high quality education. So I am going to say a few words about myself. Most of you know me, but some of you don't. So I am Dr. Teresa Newberry, and I've been at TOCC since 2005. I teach biology. In the past, I've taught chemistry. I've taught natural resources, because I have a master's in natural resources. And my undergrad's from chemistry. So I've been really here since the beginning of the science program. And before that, I worked at Pima Community College in distance education. And so I was an instructional faculty in distance education. So I have drawing on that background, which is from quite a while now, but it's really great. Some things are still fresh after even 15 years. So with that, I am going to share my screen and begin the presentation for today. So let me share my screen here. All right. So just have the power. There we go. Okay. So as Curtis mentioned, today we're talking about standards for online courses. And really we've gone through the basics. So Tim and Deanna really helped you learn, and even Linda talked about the Zoom classes and designing courses in terms of the course map and how to use Canvas. So this is really meant to be for those of you who are fairly far along in your course design, so that you can really step back and look, and ask yourself the question. So you've designed your course, now what? So Curtis sent this out on best practices, and I really liked it. It's from the ASU website. So really we're looking at best practices and things like, what do you really need to include in your courses? And, instructor presence, clear expectations, clear learning objectives. So these are all things that we want to keep in mind as kind of the goal for our online design. So we'll be referring back to best practices on and off throughout the presentation. But as Curtis mentioned, today I'm going to focus on what's called a Quality Matters rubric, and also a Quality Matters checklist. So a lot of you have taken the Quality Matters training over the past year. It's an organization that provides training in online education, but also they're really, because of their name, Quality Matters, they developed a rubric, a kind of a checklist for high quality education, and they train folks to evaluate courses. And I believe Tim actually holds one of those certificates for training. I finished the online workshop, and a number of us have. So that's how I got familiar with the rubric. I'm going to show the rubric to you right now so you can see what it is and if it's slow. I also have it opened up in another place. So here it is. Looks kind of scary, right? It's like, oh, gasp. But, you know, like anything, if you break it down, it's really very readable. And I want to say I like the rubric as opposed to best practices because it really gives you that checklist. So you can really go through. So if you look, there's 8 general standards. There's the course overview and introduction, learning objectives, assessment and measurement, instructional materials, learning activities and learning interaction, course technology, learner support, accessibility, and usability. And again, this is a checklist. So you might want to, if you go through the first time, maybe you fill 50% of it, but then you can, over time, start adding things to your classes. And so these are the specific review standards right here for each of those. So my goal today is to go through my class, and we're not going to do all of it, but we're going to practice applying some of these general standards to my class. So let me go back to the PowerPoint. Actually, I'm going to show you the checklist. So I like this even better. This is a checklist. So basically, this has taken the standards here and broken them down into really some basics, like, for example, for course overview and introductions, you ask yourself, you know, how to get started instructions, and then you check it off, done. You know, you ask yourself, is there a self-introduction by the instructor? Check. Are students asked to introduce themselves? Check. So it goes on, and it aligns with the 8 standards. So we'll be referring back to this at the end of the PowerPoint, and actually, well, I'll show you my grade for Bio 105. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so quality matters checklist, I told you about that. So why are these important? And how are they used? We've already referred to that just a little bit here, but here it's to ensure your course meets all the best practices. And again, the best practices are for the student, to make sure the students have the best learning experience. Not only that they learn what they need to in your class, but they have fun doing it, and that, you know, they're engaged, and you know, it's a great experience for them. And you can use this checklist in the planning stage, and the designing stage, and the final check stage. And then after you've designed your class, you can always go back and look at it for continuous improvement. Okay, so like I said, this is a review of all of the general standards. There's 8 of them. And as I had said, I'm not going to attempt to cover all of them. I'm going to focus on course overview and introduction, because again, that's the part that's, I mean, it's all student-centered, but these are things that haven't been covered in the training so far. Tim had gone over learning objectives, assessment and measurement, and touched on instructional materials. And then Deanna had also talked about how to use Canvas. So we're going to assume you have some background in that area. So I'd also like to focus on learning activities and learning interaction and learner support. Okay, so with that, I'm going to pause and ask if there are any questions so far. You can feel free to speak up. And there's also, Curtis is going to be checking the chat box for me. Okay. Going once, going twice. Okay, I'm moving on. And feel free to circle back if there's a question that you have from the beginning of the presentation, that's fine. All right, so we're going over standards 1 right now, which is course overview and introduction. And you can see I put a thumbs up for if I thought that I met that. So basically, a welcome page is really important. A welcome page is a place where the students have clear instructions on how to get started and where to find various course components, and they're introduced to the overall purpose and structure of the course. So basically, these are, in terms of the best practices, they are, you know, providing clear expectations for the students and orientation. And also the idea is to engage them and get them excited about the course. That's really important. You know, in all teaching, they say the first day of class is the most important day. So what they see when they go to Canvas is basically their first day of class. Okay, so I don't have Canvas open. Thought I did. I'm going to stop sharing the screen just temporarily and open that up. So, thought I had that open. I did. I do have it open. Okay. So, let me go back to share screen. Okay, there we go. So here is what I have here is on my home page. I have my welcome to Bio 105 open, and here I put an image there that I feel really talks about the class. The class is about the land. So here I have a little overview of what the class is about, you know, in terms of the topics, and it's different than the course description. It's more, you know, focused on what a student might want to hear. So, you know, for example, they might be interested in knowing this class is about clean air, clean water, human well-being, future sustainability, you know, and so some of my wishes for the students for the class. And so then here's an overview of how the course is organized. And so I have 3 units, three modules in the class: fundamentals of ecology, sustaining life on Earth, and food, energy, and water systems. And then down here are the course resources. Here's a link to the book. Oh, and then here for technology needs for the course. This is something that I think IT is working on, and something we as an institution, I think, decided we would want to have a list for the students. So this is a link to be added here. And then also, and since this is a lab class, I listed some of the things that they would need for the lab class. So there's a lot of considerations for a lab class. Here, plan for success. And again, I think Linda mentioned this a lot, how she says, stay in touch, and she puts her email everywhere. So I didn't hold back. I also want to create a Google phone number to be added. I don't really want to give my cell away, but sometimes students like to call you. So I'm going to be working on this here. And again, connecting with instructors, and then getting started. So the getting started really has to do with evaluating their, you know, the time commitment for this class, and especially for a lab loaded class, they really need to know that it's a, you know, it's not like taking a 3-credit class. So here's the different steps and the things, and these are all linked. This links to the discussion, this links to the getting started module and the syllabus. And then here, ready to begin biology. So here's a link to module 1. So I'll be showing you all those a little bit later. So.
Hey, Teresa.
Uh-huh.
Dwayne's asking, where would this page be when a student comes into your class? Would it be the first thing they see, or would it be in your week 1 module when they come in and click on it? How would they see this when they come in?
Okay, so this is really how you set your course up. And so I have set this up to be my home page. There's a place over on the right-hand side here where you can choose your home page right here. Do you see this? Choose home page. And then here, pages, front page, I have the welcome and overview. Okay, but if you want, you can also have it set up to go to modules. And if it goes to modules, this is what the students will see. So they could see this here in the welcome. And I've always done a module 0, and amongst the faculty and Curtis, we've been talking about having the same front page for the students, which is really important, because if it's the same for everyone, it helps them to get oriented. And so this getting started is really a modification of something that Tim, Deanna, and I have been working on. And so a lot of this came from that. So then this is really before it even starts, and then module 1 is down here. So does that make sense? And let me show you. Okay, good. And if you did want to start with the modules as your home page, you would go here, and then you could go to course modules and change it that way. It's just that I love the visual. So Tim and I have had some discussions. He has other considerations. He has technical considerations, and in terms of possibly making the same getting started module for everyone. And then also, this is really, it's a list, so it kind of depends on how you focus on things. But okay, any other questions?
Eric Bowman from San Carlos wants to know if you could give him access to your course layout.
Sure. Yeah, do we save the chat?
Yes, I'll save it.
Oh, okay, good, because I'll just, yeah, that's not a problem. And one of the things I could do is create this in my sandbox, so there isn't any student information. This is actually a real unpublished course, but I can do that, and I can share it with folks. So just email me if you want to also be added to like a sandbox. Any other questions?
Yeah. Teresa?
Yeah.
Question. When you click on that choose home page, because I was fiddling with that, when you click that, could you please do that? This option that you have, page is front page, that is, I guess that is deactivated on my course.
Okay, so this is how you do it. You go to pages here, and it's kind of tricky. You have to go to view all pages. And then, so there's something here, you can see I have the set as my front page. Yeah. So let's just say I wanted this to be my front page. I clicked over here on the 3 dots. Okay. And then put use as front page. Okay. And then this becomes my front page. It should be set. There we go. Now my front page changed.
All right. I'll try that and see what happened here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a question. If I build this welcome in my home page, does it automatically show up as the first module when you go to modules? That part I missed. Or do I have to build it also? Do I have to take all that information and build it in module 0?
It should show up. It's the same thing. It should show up in both places.
It'll show up as your first module.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you put it in there. So see, you notice in my first module, which is getting started, I have the welcome and overview. So if I click on this, it goes to that same page.
So you have to put a link in your first module then for your home page?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you show again how to do that?
Okay, so you want to know how to put it in your first module, or do you want to know how to put it in your home as a home page?
I think modules.
There we go. I understand how to build my home page, but I want to make sure that it also shows up when they go to modules as my first module. Okay,
I'll show you how to do that. So here you're in modules, and then you click, and so say I want to choose my home page, and I'll choose something else just so, well, something that I don't have. I'll choose this because it's not in there, okay? But I could do my welcome and overview. It's just it's already there. I don't know what that's going to do. If it has it twice, I could try. And then I'll add the item. And generally, it shows up down at the bottom. There it is. You see? And then if I want to move it, here you can move it, and I can move it above, and I can put it at the top. And so there you have it twice.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay. Let's move onward then. Going back to the PowerPoint here. So, all right, so we did the welcome page. So again, setting, oh, wait a minute, let me go back. Welcome page, clear expectations, orienting students, getting them engaged and excited about the course. And of course, adding audio and video is always wonderful too. So that you can go back and add that. Okay, so the other thing that's important is communicating expectations for online discussions, email, and other forms. So this really, when you start to talk about communicating with students and letting them know how they can get in touch with you, how they will hear from you, how often they'll hear from you, it really starts to create something called instructor presence. And so if they know, for example, if they're going to get prompt and frequent feedback, they feel like you're actually there for them. It's not like they're taking some course where taught by a robot somewhere. So it really helps them to know that that you're actively teaching the class. So let me go back to Canvas here. So this is my communication plan, and I learned this in Quality Matters. We had to take a class and create this communication plan, and you know, it was painful to be in school again, but it was good because now I had a communication plan ready to go. So basically, you know, I'd say how students can contact me, and I say that I will respond to student emails within 24 hours. I tell them that I created a Q&A discussion forum, which I'll go and pop over to that right now. This is where they can answer questions or ask questions about the course. And I have committed to check this and answer by noon every day. So again, it kind of creates an active and more dynamic learning environment. So now I have to go back to my communication plan. Yeah, so here I say, yeah, so I will check this daily by noon. Okay, so then the feedback plan, this is my feedback plan for getting back to them. I say within 48 hours, except for formal papers, which is 62 hours. I talk about how I try to break down the assignments into shorter intermediate steps so that they're not doing a whole project where they don't know where they're going. I try to give them feedback on a regular basis. And I also use rubrics. So that's my communication plan, but then I am also setting my student communication expectations. I want them to check their email at least once every 24 hours. I'm also going to add some things so that they can connect make sure that their announcements show up in email. But I'm working on that. And then for attendance, I want them to log in at least once every 48 hours. Although I'm going to change that. I do these things and I think about it. I'm going to change that to 4 times a week. And then on Sunday, I'll take attendance, and that'll be their attendance. So, and then I'm still working on my attendance requirements in the syllabus. But here's the netiquette. And so these are basically rules for communicating in cyberspace, and a lot of it is about respect and things that also the students might do that they might not know will be annoying, like all caps and things like that. So, so these are basically the netiquette, and then again, my contact information, and then I also have a student lounge. So a student lounge is a place for students just to talk about things not related to the course, socializing and discussing. So here's the student lounge that I have set up. Okay.
Teresa, there's a question from the other Dr. Newberry. Why grading within 62 hours? Why 62?
Actually, I was wondering that myself. I think that was a typo. I think that should be 72 hours. Isn't that 3 days? I hear him laughing over there. So yeah, should have been 72 hours. So 3 days. So little typo there. Yeah, keeping me on my toes. Any other questions?
Yeah, why 72?
Well, because you have to pick an hour. So I just wanted to give myself an extra day for longer assignments.
So you just have to pick. There's no some requirement from HLC or anything regarding.
No, there's best practices, and I think the 48 hours is the best practice. And I think that also that's something maybe as a faculty senate we want to discuss. It would be really nice if we had something that was the same across the board. And like I said, anything I have up here, I can change. I can just change those hours. I'll fix my typo of 62 hours. Yes, yeah, go ahead, Curtis.
We actually do have in the faculty handbook, I'm trying to look it up. I think it does say within 48 hours for tests, assignments, and then I think it's 5 days for major projects.
Oh,
and
5 days.
papers.
Oh.
Yeah, let me look. I know it's in here somewhere.
While he's looking, Teresa, when you set up the student lounge, did you just use the discussion post?
I did. I did. So if you go into discussion post, this is what it looks like, and I actually pinned it up here, so it's on top.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And to pin things, you just move it. You just have to. When you're in the edit mode, it'll show you how to do that.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
So what it actually says in the faculty handbook is it says faculty are required to give students feedback on work within 48 hours of the due date for an assignment, not including the weekends. For assignments such as student projects and significant student papers that take deep analysis, faculty have 5 working days, not including the weekends, to provide feedback to students.
Perfect. Well, yeah, so I will go back. I won't do it now, but I will go back and edit that. And I didn't realize that was written down there. And then add that, just change that. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question. This is kind of for Curtis and everybody. It would be kind of nice. Do we have a cut and paste uniform netiquette that we could use in our courses, or is everybody out finding netiquette? Because there's a lot of different things out there. I'm just wondering. Teresa's is not too long and it's to the point. I like that one. So do we have an etiquette, a recommended etiquette that we put in our courses?
Not that I know of, and I think that's an excellent idea, because one of the things is as uniform as we can make our courses for these sort of mechanistic things, we're training all of the students, and I like that. I don't know if we want to you know, talk a bit, you know, the thing is we really should set that up before the semester starts.
Yeah, it
That-
probably won't happen though with the timing, but I'd love yours, Teresa. Could you send it to Curtis in a Word doc and then he could send it out?
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And am I understanding, Curtis, that we are still waiting for a kind of a techie you said a kind of a technology getting started. This is what you need to have and know. We're still waiting for that statement?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. So let me move on here. All right. So communication plan and etiquette. So then we have our syllabus, and we'll all have the syllabus. I think that I might skip this one for showing you because I see the time. Basically, we'll use the syllabus template, and in the syllabus, we have our current policies, expectations for prerequisite knowledge. That's usually like in our prereqs. And so that's pretty standard. So you just need to make that accessible and very obvious for students. And I will actually just show you where this is in the, so it's in 2 places. And this is again, kind of a format that Deanna and Tim and I are working on. And Tim put this file for the syllabus template right there, and I really like that. But they can also see the syllabus here along the side, so they have basically 2 ways. And I want to add one of the things that I have, and it's not made yet, but a syllabus quiz. So the students will ideally look at all of this and then take their syllabus quiz, and I have that as a prerequisite before they can start Module 1. So they really need to know, you know, what the course expectations are. Any questions on that? Okay, pretty straightforward. All right, so I have a thumbs down for student resources. Again, waiting for the institution to put something together, and I'm learning myself, like, what are their digital information literacy skills? I have to kind of think about that. I think some of that might be, you know, for your course, like if they need to know PowerPoint or Word, and you know, I'm just not really ready to put that in my class right now. I need to think about that a little bit. So about me and student intros, I want to make sure to spend some time on that because this is so important. Again, you really want to have that sense that you are a real human being. And so 2 ways to do this is the self-introduction and then the introductory discussion. So I'll show you mine. And I'm again working on my get to know your instructor. It's right here in the beginning. And I would probably throw in a question or 2 about me, playing with the idea of kind of like an album approach. I would also like to add some audio or video. And so again, I'm going to be putting those things in there. Some of the things that are important, you do need to, you know, include your qualifications because students, it's good for students to know that you're qualified to teach the class. Something about the fact that you're a real human being, you know, so there's a picture of me and my kids on the first day when I started in 2005. So I kind of have this opening PowerPoint and I'm working on this right here. So that's my introduction. And then for the student introduction here in the discussion posting, here's the student introductions. And so basically, well, a little typo there, okay. So basically the basics, and then for every class, I'd like to have a special question. So who is your role model in life and why is that person your role model? And be sure to respond to at least 1 classmate. For extra credit, include an audio or a video introduction. And again, it would be really nice to have a link to help students know how to do that. considered doing a podcast, but to tell you the truth, these discussions are a really great way to evaluate students' writing. I can learn a lot by reading a discussion posting. Maybe we can talk about podcasts in another, and I've never used them, but I do know you can have podcasts. So I did enable it in one of my other discussions. So best practices, instructor presence, building a community of learners. So all of those things, these things speak to that. So any questions? Okay. So then the getting started module, you've already seen this, but we've moved here to the number 7 standard. So this is learner support. And so these are really, it's important to have links to technical support, institutions, accessibility policies and services, academic service support services and resources that can help a student learn. And then also, student services. So again, this is something, project that Deanna and I have been working with Tim on, and I used his format here and here, but I did reorganize them. So here's academic support and resources, the library. Also, I could not find it on the web, but I would really love a link for tutoring services there. I think that's really important. So technical support services. So there are a number of them here. The Canvas guide, this is the web page, how to log on to my TOCC. And then here are the student handbook. And so basically this is academic policies and ADA statement, which we're still working on. So basically, in a nutshell, that's really important to have all of these links available for students. So any questions on any of these? Comments? Okay.
That's awesome, Teresa.
Oh, good. Good.
Awesome.
Like I said, I copied and pasted it over this from this other shell that Tim set up. So it's a lot of work to do this, but the idea is that we'll have something available that everyone can use.
So yeah, so we could all have like basically like a set page, and then I assume that you just take that whole module and put it in every of your classes, every one of your classes.
Yes. And when I mentioned that Tim is working on the technical part of that, he is trying to figure out how to just put that into every Canvas shell.
Right.
And it won't overwrite what you have. I tried it because actually I uploaded from the Getting Started module and then uploaded that module. So basically it'll add to what you have and then you can just refine it.
That would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But I guess we could also put it on Commons, right? And then everybody could grab it off there.
Oh yeah, we could do that too.
That's a Tim question, I guess.
That's a Tim question. Yeah.
Yeah, that would work. Right now, my plan is just to go ahead and put it in manually for everybody at this point. But we're going to discuss that a little bit later this afternoon, more of the details, and we'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So moving on to standard 5. So these are the learning activities and interactions. So here we have, and I wanted to show you the module 1 design for this. So yeah, learning activities and learning interactions. So again, I haven't really, these are some of these competencies are a little out of order, but like in the ones that I've been showing you, I have covered all of them. So here they are. You want to promote achievement of the stated learning objectives. You want learning activities that provide opportunities for interaction that support active learning. So a couple of things. This could be a whole week-long class, and this does tie directly what Tim mentioned about the course mapping with the outcomes and the instructional materials, the activities and the assessments all aligning. But there are a couple of other things that I wanted to just highlight, and that is that this module design, well, especially with an overview, it helps to orient the students again, because you orient them to your whole class, but then you need to orient them to each module. It also helps to break the course into chunks, and that could be weekly, or it could be, you know, by a couple of weeks. And then also in terms of instructional, the learning activities, you want to engage the students. You want to keep them actively engaged in your course. So the way my course is designed is I have 3 modules, and within each of the modules is 4 weeks. So here is my foundations overview, and this is like a module overview page. And so here I have, like in plain words, what we're going to be talking about here. And then I have and I made these outcomes just for the module, and ideally they're tied to the course-wide learning outcomes. So these are the outcomes, but basically then here's a breakdown of how it's designed. And again, for week 1, this would be an example of what students would do. And then here is just an overview of what each of the weeks would look like. Okay, so each unit culminates in an exam, or each module culminates in an exam and a lab report. So, so this is my overview, and then you go down here, and there's a place for discussions. So there's 2 discussions in this module. There's a lab activity here, and then there's the big desert ecology lab. This is their project that they have to do, and so this is really the lab component. And notice I end with a peer review. So they have to submit the report as an attachment in the discussion section, and then the students actually, well, I'm going to change this up a little bit. I'm not going to have them score it with the lab rubric. I'm going to change that. I actually have 2 prompts. Oh, there we go. Here, strong points of the paper, what you learned by reading the paper, and how the paper could be improved. So you can see there's a variety of activities that the students have to do. So that's the course overview. Any questions on the course overview? And again, I created this in pages, but then I tied it to my module right there. Oh, this one here, the course overview. And then here I'm going to have, I haven't set it up yet, but this is going to be week 1 of the module. I might need to change this because I want to take a whole week for the getting started module, and then really start module 1 in week 2. Okay, any questions? Okay, so here we go. And so you can see breaking the course down into chunks. All right, so then here in terms of the, let's see now. I'm highlighting the communication plan in Netiquette again, because really that goes along with the learner's interaction. So in that Netiquette is the requirements for learning interaction. There's a lot about how students need to be respectful and to be open to other people's opinions, and just the, I actually say if there's any swear words or profanities, their discussion topic will be removed. So so that they're clear about that. It's really important for building a community of learners, because those discussion posts really help. That's a way for students to get to know each other, and then they learn together, and you have to have a sense of of trust, and that there's a safe environment for students to express their opinions. And every class is different, but this is environmental biology, so they might be expressing their opinions. And so, for example, if they're a climate denier, I don't want them to put a posting up and then be booed by the rest of their classmates. I want to, examine everybody's viewpoints. It's a really important process in terms of environmental change and policy. And then again, under this is the instructor's plan for interacting. So to me, that was also under the communication plan. So I just put it in twice. Okay. So I'm going to go on because I had already opened that up for questions. So then, as I mentioned, for the learner interaction, the discussion postings are really important. So you need to provide opportunities for interaction that support active learning. You want to make sure that the requirements for interaction are clearly stated. So here's where we have the rubrics. I wanted to point out the rubric. So the other couple of things about this honorable harvest discussion is that it's relevant learning. So this actual discussion posting talks about traditional knowledge and sustainability. Oops. And so I put these things in the beginning of my class because sometimes students aren't quite, it's not as engaging to learn things like the, adiabatic lapse rate of mountains, more of the technical stuff. So we're still getting to know each other. So here's the honorable harvest discussion. So basically, they would have learned about the five elements of traditional knowledge. Here they are, and they'll watch this YouTube clip. It's a TED Talk. It's by Robin Wall Kimmerer. And they have to identify an example of one of these things here. And then even though I do have the rubric here, I do remind them that they have to have 2 responses to their classmates. And then I give them some possible ideas of what they might say to their students. Like, did you interpret their example in the same way? Why or why not? Did their example increase your understanding of TEK? So they're not required to say those things, but some kind of response. So then I also include the rubric, which I'm opening now. And it's really good to use the same rubric throughout the semester. It's also good to, I know a number of us have probably taken online graduate courses, and to have the due dates the same, I'm working on that the initial post is due on a Monday, and then they have till Friday to do 2 responses. But basically, here's the discussion rubric. So 1 initial post and 1 reply, each posted on 2 different days. I think that should say 2 replies. Okay, and then initial post relates directly to the unit content. The comment reflects completion of assigned reading or activity and the overall comment quality. So this is really basically all my discussions are worth 20 points, and then I'll use this rubric to score it.
Question, Teresa?
Sure.
And then I'm sorry I have to log off because I have another Zoom meeting.
Okay.
Is this a rubric that you made from scratch, or did you do some research in regards to discussion rubrics? Because this is another piece that might be fun for us to look at in a Word document.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was teaching online at Pima Community College, so basically I took mine from then and updated it. And at the time, I used you never create anything from
Could you
scratch.
give that to Curtis too in a Word document?
Sure, I could do that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Yeah, and I think that was my last slide anyway. So I don't think I'm just about done. So, any other questions?
Hey, Teresa, Eric asked if you wouldn't mind clicking on the Zoom on the left side of your canvas just so that he can see what it looks like. SCAC is working on getting their Zoom accounts and stuff, and he was just curious what it looks like.
Clicking
in your
on the
canvas
Zoom?
shell. In your canvas shell.
Oh, in my Canvas shell. Oh, sure, not a problem. Let's see. I was there, but now I'm okay. So yeah, I set this up. I also set up my office hours here, which actually I wanted to show everybody anyway. Linda showed us how to do this. So I went ahead. So this is what mine looks like. I had to go to navigation and make sure it showed up on the left-hand side. And then I just went ahead and did schedule a new meeting and put in my office hours. Does it answer the question?
Yes.
Okay, great. All right, yeah, so that was my last slide. I did want to go back briefly and just go to the checklist. And so you can see, well, I was gonna, so, you know, then this is really great because it's pretty straightforward. So you could say, were there getting started instructions? Yes. Was the purpose and structure of the course stated? Is there an etiquette policy? Are these policies in place? Prerequisites I need to work on. That I need to work on. This is present, that's present. So see how easy this is to use? So I just, it might seem a little complicated going back and forth, but I just really wanted to show you, you know, basically how you could use it for course design. But this is another thing, that another way you can use these materials. So with that, there's 2 minutes left. I'm going to open it up to questions. I'll keep the share screen on in case I need to show something.
All right, do we have any questions for Teresa?
Okay, so I would like to just add, I do, you know, come into this with a lot of experience. This is really what I started with when I started my full-time teaching gig and at Pima. I loved online education. And so it's really exciting to be back doing it. I also have hopefully shown one way that we can incorporate culture. And I'm really excited about the fact that, you know, we're a tribal college. So what are the exciting ways that we can really make this, you know, embed our curriculum in the HIMDOC. So it's really going to be an interesting journey that we're all on.
I agree.
Teresa, I have a question if I could throw it in here. So I saw on the rubric, just I think maybe a quarter page above where you are now on the screen share for minimum tech skills. I wanted to just get an idea, are instructors listing things like for all their students, especially new students, you're going to need to sign up for a Zoom account. You're probably going to need to sign up for the office.com 365 account if we're going to have, I don't know, Word documents that are serve as templates for what they're going to use. How are people doing those things in terms of those minimum tech skills?
Yeah, and I could hand this over to Tim or Curtis because it's my understanding that we're designing such a, I think, site for students so that they would have this. And then ideally, I would just link to that.
Okay, that makes sense, yeah.
So Ken, that is a great question. And really right now we're waiting on our IT people here to actually provide us with that information. And so that's kind of why that's left blank, is we're actually waiting for them to give us the list of the required technologies to even log into Canvas and all of those kinds of things. And so once we have those tech specs from them, then that's how we're going to fill that in. So we're just waiting for our IT to give us that sheet. So
perfect. Okay, thanks so much. Yeah, I think it's definitely a concern for especially our new students, and especially as instructors get kind of used to the tools that they have access to, that it's easy to forget, oh, this student might have no clue about Zoom or how to use it, or that they have to create an account, or whatever it is that they might need to do.
And also really importantly is having the students have their announcements come to their email, or have it set so it's an email they actually use. And so that would be really great to include in that too.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do you have the participant agreement before they start the course?
A participant agreement? I don't have one. I'm not familiar with that.
No. We actually rely on the companies. That's their, they throw that up as the students are entering, you know, sort of the stuff they
Thank
see.
you.
You bet. Yeah, that's on the companies, really not so much on us.
all right, everyone. Well, this is one of our second to last trainings, but if there are any other needs, please let us know. Teresa, you did a wonderful job, and all our trainers have done a wonderful job, and I surely appreciate it. On, I think it's this Friday, I believe we have Tony up giving us some best practice tips.
I'll bring in virtual snacks with me.
All right. But thank you so much, Teresa. It was wonderful. And I'll send out a link as soon as this is up and running on YouTube for everybody for reference purposes. And I'll make sure that the forms and everything are up. And again, once Tony's is done, everyone will be invited to a Canvas course, which also will have a lot of other additional information, including the faculty handbook and a bunch of other information that'll be useful to get everybody going and getting everybody running. So, but with that being said, please enjoy the rest of your Monday. Have a wonderful week, and we will see you all later.
Great. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thanks, Teresa.
Okay. Thank you.
Later, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Kamiyari.
Our feet are the same.
Thank you. Tamnyay.
Yay.